Again, we'll be re-clarifying previous videos in the past that dealt with the subject matter, but we're going to talk about definition of Christian name. It's very, very important, and especially with the times we're living in, to understand the be ye separate, do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. Friendship with the world is enmity with God. All these scriptures that make more sense when you understand how the two names have been somewhat combined together, and then when we place the two names together in a merger, Christian name and surname, law would view that as a merger in a sense that they're one and the same now, though they are different. We know that companies will merge with other companies that may have completely separate manufacturing purposes, and so one company may take over another company, but the company they took over may not have any at all background or direction from what the company itself does. So when we merge something together, it doesn't mean that they're one and the same. But when you merge in law two things together that don't belong, confuse them, because that's what merger means. You've brought them into what we call identical. They now are one and the same. So when you merge the two together, that's why the court system doesn't care once you say given name and surname in the courtroom, because they're considered to be in a consensual position to be one and the same in belief and doctrine. So we're going to go to Samuel Johnson's dictionary, and I had a really good friend who sent me probably about the best reproduction that I've seen that I can read of the original 1755 Samuel Johnson's dictionary, first edition. And when we go to Christian name, it says the name given at the font or baptism, distinct from the gentilidious name or surname. So we'll go over to the Gentile section to understand this more clearly, because it said it was distinct from, so it's different. It's not the same, so don't confuse the two. When separated, they have their meanings. So now we'll go to Gentile, which is, of course, the root of gentilidious. It says, one of an uncovenanted nation, one who knows not the true God. So if you have a Gentile name, a gentilidious or surname, that would place you, we'll use the word identity at that point, it IDs you as someone of an uncovenanted nation, one who knows not the true God. So you belong to that nation. It wouldn't matter whether it be Canadian, American, all these countries that have the version of their nation, these are all uncovenanted nations because they have no origin with God. They have no covenant with God as the nation of Israel did. So, and again, it says a person of rank, and I always say, when someone joins the army, you're already considered dead, so your body's already stinking, so it's already rank, something smells. So the surname, you need an arms name in order to be in armed forces, and so this also links to the word. Then we have Gentile, belonging to a nation. It says British, Irish, German are all Gentile adjectives. You go to Oxford's Dictionary of the English Language, 22-volume set, very, very in-depth, and says that the term American is a Gentile terminology. Then we go to gentilese, complacence, civility, gentilish, heathenish, pagan, gentilidious, peculiar to a nation, hereditary, entailed on a family. Well, I don't think we need to probably go too much further on this. If we're using a symbol of that in how we present ourselves in that world, then we would be attaching ourselves to that symbolism and what it attaches to it. And it is very important to know that does make a difference. It is important. It's very important because being a Christian means you belong to Christ. Being a Gentile means you belong to the Gentile world, those that do not have a covenant with God. Can you be a Christian and be a Gentile at the same time? can you have loyalty to both at the same time? I think that's where the confusion has happened when people have been reading the scripture. We have to look at the overall, all the scriptures combined together, and then see how does that work in harmony in thought. And we would know that there are so many scriptures that we could point to. Be ye separate, which means private in law. Private is not public, so you wouldn't be part of the public. Public also uses the word adult. We could go on in the attachment of these words leading to adultery. And then James, that warned friendship with the world is enmity with God. So, and it said, you adulterers and adulteresses. How more pointed could that be? I think what we have to do is put on our spiritual hat and start to do our research, which is required of us, because we are walking blindly if we do not do that research. There's nothing hidden. If I can find it, you can find it. And certainly you don't even have to have the amount of books that I have. Most of this can be found from the average source. And many of the reading materials that I have right now, or the dictionaries I have, are now almost available online. So you can still find these sources even if you don't have the actual physical book. But I hope that this video has brought clarity to that subject matter that we had talked about in the past. Certainly, if you're using a surname, you've identified yourself as someone with no covenant with God.